What if I told you that the fate of the entire American economy currently rests on a single room, a handful of silent phone calls, and one man's refusal to sign a piece of paper? Right now, as you watch this, the Senate is locked in a high-stakes game of chicken. The lights are on late in Washington. The coffee is cold. The tension is thick. And the headlines are telling you it's just another funding snag. But they aren't telling you the truth. Most people have no idea what's actually about to happen. They see the words, Senate shutdown deal, and Lindsey Graham snag, and they think it's just more politics as usual. They think it's just another day in the theater of the absurd. But this time, the theater is on fire. Lindsey Graham, a man who has lived in the heartbeat of the establishment for decades, has just walked into a self-made trap. Or maybe he's set one for everyone else. By the time you finish this video, you are going to see the DC Playbook for what it really is. You're going to understand why a single snag on a Friday morning could trigger a domino effect that changes your life, your wallet, and the very way this country functions. Because this isn't just about a budget. It's about the one thing Washington fears losing more than anything else: the illusion of control. Let's look behind the curtain. In Washington, there is a rhythm, a script. They call it governing by crisis. Here is how the playbook works. Step 1. Wait until the very last second. Step 2. Declare a national emergency. Step 3. Force a massive, 1,000-page bill down the throats of the people before anyone has time to read it. It's a master stroke of manipulation. If you don't vote for it, you're the villain. If you do vote for it, you're part of the problem. But then, something happened. This week, the Senate leadership thought they had a deal. They thought the path was clear to keep the government running. They had the signatures. They had the optics. And then came the Lindsey Graham snag. Now you have to ask yourself, why now? Why this specific moment? Graham is demanding answers on military spending, on border security, and on the very things that have been ignored for months. On the surface, it looks like a tactical disagreement. But if you look closer, you see a realignment. The Senate could move ahead as soon as Friday. That's the plan. But the plan is hitting a wall. They want you to believe this is a technicality. They want you to believe it's just about funding levels. It's not. It's about the narrative. To understand where we are going, we have to look at where we've been. For 30 years, we have been told that these shutdowns are catastrophic. We've been told that if the doors close for 48 hours, the sky will fall. They've used this fear to pass trillions in debt. They've used this fear to bypass the standard process. They've used this fear to keep you from asking where the money is actually going. Think about the pattern. It's always the same. A snag occurs. The media cycles into a frenzy. The stock market wobbles. And then, at 11:59 p.m., a miracle happens. A deal is struck. The heroes of the Senate emerge and tell us they saved the day. But did they save the day? Or did they just delay the bill? We are currently living in a cycle of perpetual, continuing resolutions. That's a fancy term for, we can't agree on anything, so let's just keep spending what we spent yesterday plus a little more. It is the death of strategy. It is the end of vision. And Lindsey Graham, a veteran of this system, knows exactly how the clock works. By creating this snag, he isn't just stopping a bill. He's exposing the fact that the entire system is held together by Scotch tape and promises. But here is where the story takes a turn you won't see on the evening news. Usually, when a senator creates a snag, the leadership crushes them. They offer a bridge to nowhere in their home state. Or they threaten their committee seats. But this time, the leadership is hesitating. Why? Because the public is no longer buying the illusion. They've stopped buying the emergency. They've stopped buying the last-minute heroics. They've stopped buying the idea that this is a functional way to run the world's largest economy. You see it in the polls. You see it in the comment sections. You see it in the eyes of people at the grocery store. The snag isn't the problem. The snag is a symptom. The real snag is that the American people have started to realize that a government shutdown doesn't mean the country stops working. It means the politicians stop working. And for a lot of people, that's not a threat. It's a relief. Let's zoom out. Let's talk about how power really works in Washington. Power isn't just about who has the most votes. Power is about who controls what you believe is possible. If they can make you believe that a Friday deadline is the end of the world, they can make you accept any bill, no matter how much it costs you. If they can make you believe that one senator is the sole reason for a shutdown, they can hide the failures of the other 99. This is what we call manufacturing consent. They create the crisis. They broadcast the crisis. They offer the only solution to the crisis. But the Lindsey Graham snag has broken the rhythm. By holding up the process on specific, high-stakes issues, like how we fund our defenses and how we protect our borders, he is forcing the Senate to do the one thing they hate most: have an actual debate. In a world of soundbites and pre-written scripts, an actual debate is a revolutionary act. It's messy. It's slow. It hits snags. And it's exactly what the founders intended. There is a healthy kind of skepticism growing in this country. And it is the only thing that can save us. For too long, we've been told that unity means silence. We've been told that bipartisanship means spending money we don't have on things we don't need. But skepticism is a corrective force. When you see a headline that says, "Senate shutdown deal hits a snag," I want you to change your perspective. Don't see it as a failure of government. See it as a sign that the machine is finally grinding to a halt because someone, for whatever reason, refused to just go along to get along. We need more snags. We need more questions. We need more people willing to say, "Wait a minute. What's actually in this bill?" The snag isn't a bug in the system. It's the last remaining feature of a democracy that still has a pulse. So what happens after the snag? The Senate could move ahead as soon as Friday. If the leadership resolves the holdup, the money will flow, the lights will stay on, and the news cycle will move on to the next scandal. But something has changed. The mask has slipped. We've seen that the entire apparatus of the U.S. government can be brought to a standstill by a single disagreement over priorities. This tells us that the consensus in Washington is incredibly fragile. It tells us that the people in power are terrified of a delay because a delay gives you time to think. If they vote on Friday, it will be a victory for the status quo. If they don't, it will be a crisis for the media. But for you, it's a moment of clarity. You are not just a spectator in this. You are the reason they are so nervous. They are watching the metrics. They are watching how you react. They are trying to figure out if you're still scared of the shutdown boogeyman. By staying informed, by looking past the snag and seeing the strategy, you are reclaiming your power. We are entering a period of massive realignment. The old ways of doing business, the backroom deals, the midnight votes, the manufactured crisis, they are losing their effectiveness. People are waking up. People are asking questions. People are demanding better. Washington wants you to feel overwhelmed. They want you to feel like this is all too complicated for the average person to understand. It's not. It's about your money. It's about your future. And it's about whether or not we still live in a country where a snag is allowed to happen. The Lindsey Graham snag might be resolved by the time the sun goes down on Friday. Or it might be the start of a long, cold winter in the Capitol. But whatever happens, don't let them tell you what to think about it. Look at the facts. Watch the players. And most importantly, stay skeptical. Because the moment we stop questioning the plan is the moment the plan becomes our prison. I want to hear from you. Do you think these snags are a sign of a broken system, or are they the only thing keeping the system honest? Does a government shutdown actually worry you, or are you more worried about what happens when they don't stop spending? Drop a comment below. I read as many as I can, and this community is where the real conversation happens. If you found value in this deep dive, hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications. We are committed to cutting through the noise and telling you what's really happening behind the curtain. Stay curious. Stay vigilant. And remember, the snag is where the truth begins. I'll see you in the next one.